Hi, Lauren. How you doing? Okay, thanks so much for your submission. So, reading your text, you say you're looking back, you think your type might be a little too close together, and it is. And the best way to really mimic the way that this is since this is a computer screen and it's not an actual file that was submitted, I can't reduce the size of it. But what I can do is move away from my screen. And I want you to do the same thing. As you move away from your screen, get back about 8-10 feet, and you'll see that this all starts to look like one shape. It looks like a stripe. That's a clear indication that you're letting, or I'm sorry, your kerning is too tight. In other words, your letters are too close together. Now, we haven't formally really studied kerning yet, but you got the right idea in your indication that you think that these are too close together. All right, good job establishing your baseline, mean line, and cap height. That's great. That's a really great guideline to set up for yourself. Now, Franklin Gothic is a sans serif typeface. And I've got Franklin Gothic set up right here at 200 point. Now, one thing I want you to notice is the shapes of your letters. I think you did a very, very good job with the shapes of the letters. However, there are some areas that indicate the shapes could have further refinement. Specifically, the variation in the stroke width right here, especially right through here. See how thin that is as compared to that? And yours is, and you are definitely showing variation. I just don't think it's as pronounced as the actual typeface itself. I think the B is outstanding. Really good B. That looks fantastic. And then your relationship between your mean line and your cap height is very good as well. I think that you did a great job setting up your baseline. I think it's a really good idea. Your mean line, I'm going to use this, the top of this as a straight edge, but I just want to show you that your mean line, and I'm going to place it right here on the top of that A, and the mean line right there, and just to show you that a couple of your other letter forms are protruding above that mean line. So you'll want to adjust those to make sure that all your letter forms are consistent in the way they fall on that mean line. And we take a look at the baseline, and we can see that you're pretty good on the baseline. So that's great. It's probably a little easier to do the baseline than it is, since most of the letter forms on the base, or I shouldn't say most of, but some of the letter forms on the baseline consist of straight lines, being the N, the tail of the A, the bottom of the B, etc., whereas all of the letter forms at the top are curved. So that's going to create much more difficulty creating consistency there. Now, I want to talk one thing about your sketching. I think you're using too light of a pencil, and the reason I say that is, let's go ahead and take a look at David's, and only because he used a much softer lead than you use. I'm guessing you're using a number 2 pencil here, and I think that maybe using a softer lead might be a little bit better in filling that in to get a little more contrast, so we can really see the relationships being created by these letter forms. Let me show you our website. It's called pencils.com, and you can see right here how the different leads, the H's are hard and the B's are soft. So typically you've got a 2H, that's a number 2 pencil, and you can see how light that is. And that's great for establishing the hard lines, the contour lines around the bowls and the outside of the letter forms. That's great, but to fill them in, I would use a harder lead. 3B, 4B, maybe even a 5B or 6B. Anything over here is going to crumble. It's more like charcoal. So maybe if you, I don't know if you have in your art kit, if you have a softer lead, but I would definitely recommend that you fill those in to create some more contrast in these letter forms. The kerning itself, you really only have 2 letters to kern. You've got the difference is this. You've got the spacing between the A and the N, because that repeats itself there, and then the spacing between the N and the A, so it repeats itself there. I would open this up a little bit. Try what feels natural to you. Maybe typeset it on your computer, take a look at it, take a look at what feels natural to you. Typically, what you want to do is you want to have this consistent and consistent feel to the kerning between the letter forms. Right now, I think your A is a little bit too close to your B. The first B and the A are a little too close. Well, let's increase that size. The rest will fall naturally. Okay. My only other comment is that, and I mentioned this to David too, because you guys had both posted your critique and your final for the week on the same day. So my point is that if you post your critique, your work to your critique, you can have all week long, compile all the comments from me, my recommendations, my critique, and then all of those from your classmates. Then you can apply that work to your final, okay? So hypothetically, if there's a critical error in your critique submission, you could feasibly, I'm not saying you have one, but I'm saying one could feasibly correct that error and have that work corrected and submitted by Sunday's final part 1 submission. Okay, so what you could do here is just resubmit based on the comments that I've made here, and it would definitely increase the consistency and the visual appearance of the work. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, that's all I have. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if I can clarify anything, Lauren, please let me know. I'll be glad to do so. Okay, thank you very much.